Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, all praise be to Allah. We praise Him, we ask for His help, we ask for His forgiveness, we seek refuge with Allah from the wickedness of ourselves and from the badness of our deeds. Whoever been given by Allah guidance, then nobody can be a misguider for him. Whoever be misguided by Allah, then nobody can be a guider for him. I bear witness there's no God worthy to worship except Allah. Only Him, no associate for Him. And I bear witness that Muhammad is His messenger and His servant. O Allah, give good praise upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad. And give good praise upon Abraham and the family of Abraham. O Allah, bless upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad. Bless upon Abraham and the family of Abraham. Verily you most worthy of praise and most exalted in glory. Today our issue, today's issue inshallah, Reverts Relapse, understanding the challenges. It's actually the most toned down topic or title we have chose. There was long discussion in our team about what should be said on our poster. So this is the toned down version. This is the non-toned down version. So actually our topic today is related to like we said, the challenges. We know that some of our revert brothers and sisters, they revert to Islam is caused by other than religious motivation, such as love, marriage, and sort of. So, first of all, it is not wrong if a person want to revert to Islam because of love, because of marriage, or relationship with human. It is actually not wrong at all from the start. Even though when we think about that purpose or that thing that become the motivation for the revert to Islam, we thought about that is actually not appropriate by our thinking. But the problem is never being discussed by the Prophet, peace be upon him, this topic before. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Even if you look into the story of Salamah, the mother of Anas bin Malik, anhu, who was the servant of the Prophet for 10 years when the Prophet migrated to Medina. Anas bin Malik, his mother, named Sulaim. So strong-willed woman, very known, that have a vocal voice to ask questions to the Prophet and say things. And even she actually, when you look into the second marriage, her second marriage with a man, she actually said to the man, "You want to marry me? Be a Muslim. My mahar, my dowry is for you to become a Muslim." The Prophet didn't oppose to that. First of all, we must understand that. Like we said, our Sheikh said that we want to be a Muslim because of that. You cannot stop anybody to pronounce the Shahada, to say that I bear witness Muhammad, Allah, there's no God worthy to worship except Allah, and I bear witness Muhammad is messenger and his servant. It's actually, nobody can stop you from proclaiming that. That is your right as a human. Even at the time of the Prophet, when the hypocrites, they declare the same testification, not being rejected by the Prophet. Never the Prophet said, "I feel doubt about your reversion. I don't accept." No, the Prophet cannot deny anybody to be a Muslim. Such as we are right today, we cannot deny anybody want to be Muslim. Even if the motivation started from marriage or love. Because Allah Ta'ala may make you want to do something from the start in something that is actually not for Him. But He may change your heart after that. We can look into this. I can give you an example among people that is actually studying Islam from the purpose not to know the truth about Islam, just to find something that in Islam that is wrong or contradicting with science. The guy named Dr. Morris Bukai, the author of the book, the Bible, the Quran and Science. You know, if you look into that book, the motivation from the start when he wrote the book is actually he want to expose the wrongness or the faulty ideas in Islam comparing to the science. But in the end, he become a Muslim. Like I said, maybe your first motivation is not right. But Allah Ta'ala knows best. So we, as a Muslim, we don't stop anybody to become a Muslim. That's your right. So even if the motivation is not for the sake of Allah, may Allah Ta'ala make that person, after he embraced Islam, then Allah Ta'ala will turn his heart to become better and better. That is our hope. So, about the topic related to one story that we mentioned about a revert that embraced Islam, revert to Islam for the sake of marriage, and she actually did all the registration to become a Muslim and become a Muslimah. It's not just willing one two. She did all the paperwork to become a Muslim or Muslimah for a woman. But in the end, the marriage doesn't happen. So that is the topic today. That is actually to say about things that related to your will to become a Muslim. Then the thing that motivated you to become Muslim is not there anymore. So we will stay as a Muslim. That's the topic. So we know that Islam never forced you to become a Muslim, ever. If you look into the history of the expansion of Islam from the time of the Prophet until the time of the Caliph, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, and the time of the kingdom of Umayyad and Abbasid. All of them is actually when they expand the nation of Islam, the kingdom of Islam, they never ever force anybody to become a Muslim. I did remember a debate between Sheikh Ahmad Didat and a pastor or a Christian priest, Arab Christian priest from Palestine, named Anis Shurush. So this guy, when he started the debate, he talked about want to say that Islam being spread by sword, people being forced to become a Muslim. But he wrongly say about himself when he said, I'm a Christian, son of a Christian, from descendant from before. He said, I am not a revert Christian. I am a Christian, son of a Christian, son of a Christian, son of a Christian. So when Sheikh Ahmad Didat opening his speech, he said, you, your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, he mentioned all the lineage. You all are the evidence that Islam never forced anybody to become a Muslim. Because if Islam being spread by force, you will not exist anymore. So you go to Sham, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, you will not find any Christian there. But you can find Christian there. From descendant of Christian from the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In Egypt, the same, Coptic Christian. Also, from descendant from before, they are not being turned over to become Muslim. You go to Iraq, or in the American slang, Iraq, still there until today. Nobody forced them to become Muslim. So when you talk about this, it's actually that in evidence. Islam never turned anybody to become Muslim. You don't forcefully turn a person to become Muslim. You show your evidence, you talk to them, show the truth about Islam, show the values of Islam. If he interested, he become Muslim, alhamdulillah. If he doesn't want to know about Islam, it's okay. You just sell your product, promote your product as you can, but don't force anybody to buy it. That is actually really something that you must understand. So even in India today, being controlled by Muslim more than 400 years. More than 400 years. Jazakallah khairan. Jazakumullah khairan. Oh, bismillah. Still a little itchy, on my throat. Alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala made it easier for me after 1 week. But the needle still there. So from time to time, we'll be hearing my okay. So I hope you'll be able to keep patient with me, inshallah. So from the time of the expansion of Islam to India, India being controlled by Muslim, not one kingdom, for almost more than 400 years, but nobody being forced to become a Muslim. That is the fact. So when you become Muslim, that's the thing. We, Alhamdulillah, in Al-Khadim, we always promote for anybody to want to revert to Islam to be sincere and to be clear about his position. We doesn't encourage anybody to become Muslim secretly. We don't encourage. And when we say about that, we explain to them from the start, from their taking their shahada, we say that this is one-way road. When you enter Islam, you cannot get out of it. From the start, we will tell them. We don't deceive them to just say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah, and they don't know. Suddenly, cannot go out. No, we tell them from the start. Islam doesn't force you to become a Muslim. But once you become a Muslim, that's another topic. Some people will always referring to the ayah of the Quran, the verse 256 of Surah Al-Baqarah. That start with the La ikraha fid din. Is the ayah after Ayatul Kursi. Ayatul Kursi is 255, this 256. The beginning of the ayah, La ikraha fid din. There's no compulsion in religion. This thing, if you relate to what will happen right now about the application by the revert who want to go back from her stand from become a Muslimah to become back a Christian or a Hindus. That's something that's really not in our country itself. We don't have that law. We have the law for them to become a Muslim. We don't have the law for from a Muslim to become a non-Muslim. There's no such law in our country. You have to know that. No such act or such section in the court that make you to have that freedom to say something like that or to get out like that from Islam. Because that you said from the start, you have to know when you embrace Islam, then you cannot return back to your own belief. Or you say that I don't want to be a Muslim anymore. You cannot say something like that. Or you cannot, or you can do that by your life, by not doing whatever Islam told you to do, telling you to do. But you cannot proclaim that in your certificate or in your lectures and everything. You cannot do that. So some people will return to that ayah, La ikraha fid din. There's no compulsion in the religion. So I have to explain about that ayah first. This ayah, the ayah 256 of Surah Al-Baqarah, is actually related to what happened to the people of Medina. The people of Medina, when they actually, I don't know, the tradition in Malay Muslim, they're still there. The tradition of if you have a son or a daughter, that always in accident, go out from the house, car hit the boy. Actually, we have that one case in my hometown, in Stapa, in Tanjung Raya. One of our neighbors, actually she have a son. The son always in accident. Go out from the house, car ran into the boy. The boy inside the house, the fridge fell onto the boy. So the Malay, they have the same thing that I want to tell you about from the Medina people. They being told to claim that this son is that person's son. You claim by saying. And so that woman came to my father. He said, Pak Imam, oh Imam, my son is yours. I give it to you. And after, Wallahu alam, this is something that the superstitious being proven to be as if it is true. The boy doesn't have any accident anymore after that. When we claim the son of my father, he doesn't stay at my house. The boy doesn't stay at my house. But actually the mother came and said, Pak Imam, this is my son. Please accept him as your son. So the same being done by the people of Medina before. So when their children having problem to growing up, having many accident, so they will go to the Jew and say that my son is yours. And the difference is they left their son with the Jew. Left the son with the Jew. So the son will grow up as a Jew in the Jewish village. The Jewish village, where we know that before that we mentioned in Sunday class, in talking about Sophia binti Huyay, one of the wife of the Prophet, who is actually from the Jew descendant. When we talk about it, we said about there are Jews who stay around Medina at the time of the Prophet, even before the Prophet came to Medina. The famous one is actually there are 4 tribes: Bani Quraizah, Bani Nadir, Bani Qainuqa, Bani Mustalik. So those Jews are staying near Medina, actually because they know about the Prophet will be coming to Medina. Because of that, they build their villages near Medina. So those people being sent to them, the children of, this is before Islam, before the Prophet came to Medina. They send their children to the Jew to make sure that their son will be protected and not in disaster or in accident anymore. But the problem is the children become a Jew, practicing Jewish tradition, not with their parent anymore. So happened when the Jew tribes betray the Prophet, some of them being banished from Medina, like Bani Nadir, when the Prophet sent them out of Medina. And the Prophet capture everything that they own, belong to the Muslim. So those people, when they want to go out, some of the children of the people who are already become Muslim is with the Jew. So the Muslim said, Ya Rasulullah, my daughter is there. They are our son, they are our children, but they are following the Jew. The Prophet banished them, they have to go out. So those children, actually when being called by their parent, they said, no, I want to go with the Jew. So that is when the Prophet said, with the ayah, La ikraha fid din. There's no compulsion in making person to become to become a Muslim inside the religion. You cannot force them. If they want to be with you, then they will ask with the Muslim. If they don't want to be with you, want to be with the Jew, they are with the Jew. That is the story of that ayah. But we listen to people reading this ayah and saying that when anybody, like a person, drink intoxicated drinks, and you have the law about that in Islam, that essentially you have to be caned 18 18 lashes. Only that the problem is the prison guard in the normal prison, they are not trained to do the way of lashing, the way of Islam. The way of lashing Islam is actually you cannot use more stick that is longer than longer than one arm, not longer than that. And when you lash, the person will not be stripped down their clothes, and you only will hit them like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, until 80s. Actually, if you look in YouTube, there are few actually examples being done in Saudi Arabia. Like once, the Iranian nationality that I don't know whether he pee in the mosque or he defecate in the mosque. One of it. So being caught. So the court in Medina actually punish him 1 year in prison and 50 lashes. You know, the 50 lashes being done in front of the mosque. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 until finish. It's not like you say the long one that being done in our prison. It's not the same. So anyway, when a person go against the law of Islam, and you have the law, actually the law in every state in Malaysia is being put down there for anybody doing this. This is the punishment. Only that the implementation is not being done. That is the problem. Then some people will say that the person is free. He can do anything he wants. There's no compulsion in, they recite the ayah. There's no compulsion in religion. That is actually wrong way for you to understand the ayah. Because at the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, there are people doing things against the law of Islam and being punished. And they even not once being recited back to the Prophet, La ikraha fid din. Not once. They are the Arabs. They are knowing that they know the language more than us. But they don't take the ayah and go to the Prophet, why you punish me? La ikraha fid din. So the same thing about when you want to go out from the religion of Islam. You don't want to be a Muslim anymore. The problem that we here, like I said, you embrace Islam without any compulsion. Willingly, you say that. And we did explain to you that this is one-way road. There's no two-way. For you, you cannot return back. So from the start, you cannot return back. Because, like I said, you don't have any act or clause or section in the law that permitting you to do that. Except if the religious authority proclaim you as a not Muslim anymore. This is happening in Malaysia. If you look into it, whenever a person say that being said by the authority, religious authority, that he or she is not a Muslim anymore, then all the things related to the law of Islam cannot be implemented upon him. You remember Ayah Pin, a person in Terengganu. Do you know that he was caught for 11 months at one time by one government because of whatever he said. But the lawyer, the human rights lawyer that is helping him, give him a letter to claim that he said his name, are not a Muslim anymore. He signed it, and they show it, he's not Muslim anymore. And the court accepted that, then he being released. He being released from any punishment. So that, like we said, the thing is about for implementation, for you to be inside that outside of that, if being claimed by the authority, then the civil court can exempt you from being ruled under the Sharia court. But the problem is you have to be outside first. So now the thing is inside the Sharia court, there's no such clause. Actually, there's no such clause. When you are Muslim, you cannot go back from that. Then we have to know that this law that we actually accepting it as a citizen in Malaysia is actually according to the what we say as our religious leader for the state or for the federal is actually the king, the Malay king or Agong or Sultan or Raja. By constitution, they are the one that holding everything about the religion. In our constitution, is like that. So if the law from the king doesn't permit you to do that, so how can you actually want to go against it? Because like I said from the start, like in Malaysia, you cannot have two nationalities. If you have two nationalities, your Malay nationalities will be revoked. The immigration will seize your passport and you are not Malaysian anymore. Do you know that? If they know, being come into the immigration, the knowledge about you have two nationalities. You have UK's nationality and Malaysian nationality. They know that and they can get hold onto the evidence. Your citizenship, Malaysian citizenship will be revoked. Whether you like it or not. You cannot say that it is my freedom. Because you are bound. As a Malaysian, you are bound to the law of Malaysia. You cannot say that, yes, in America they have two citizenship. In Canada they can. In Australia they can. Why Malaysia cannot? Because it's Malaysia. You have to respect the law. So that is the first thing first. You have to know. When the law is there, so before you proclaim your shahada, you have to know that you cannot ever to revert again or go outside from Islam officially. I said officially. Why? Because our Sheikh did mention a few things being happen in Penang about things like this. So he told me that when he was called by the authority there to give advice to those people who actually keep on fighting in the court to get the name of Islam being put away from their identity card, identity card, IC, or in whatever their identity letter. So the Sheikh came to those people and said that, he said that I don't practice Islam. So our Sheikh said to them, the born Muslim also, many of them doesn't practice Islam. It's not you are the one that not practicing Islam. So the problem is actually about you want to go against the law that is there. It's not about you don't want to pray, because we have Muslims that don't pray. Many, not little of them, many. Actually, I talked about this just now in Masjid Ghufran when Allah Ta'ala said in the Quran about people who Allah Ta'ala will help them from among things that they have to do, aqamus salah. They must uphold the prayer. They have to do the prayer, perform the prayer. So I told them about a story that happened to me last year during the Hajj, Idul Adha. When I went back to my father's-in-law's house in Perlis to Kanga, so I rode a bus. The bus is full, or 40 people there inside the bus. So when we stop at Sungai Dua to pray Fajar, the non-Muslim inside that bus is around 4% only. I count. The non-Muslim, 4%. Other than that, it's actually Muslim. But when the bus stopped at Sungai Dua, and the driver said, I stopped a little, I want to pray. He said something like that. Pray Fajar. Pray Subuh in Sungai Dua. But the only person that follow him, is actually around 3% only. Me, the brother beside me, and the brother on my right hand person, 2%, 3%, and with the driver. When you look into it, those people inside the bus, they don't pray Fajar. I read about 80% of Muslim is neglecting the prayer. I read about that. Some people do the statistic, they say 80%. But you don't see that every day, you know. When I told this story to my friend, about 40%, my friend, my student, he go into, there's actually, they go to ride motorcycle, Ducati motorcycle, from KL to Johor. Actually around 260 people. From among 260 people, all of them are Muslim. The only people that will pray whenever they stop, only 4. Only 4. So our Sheikh, when he want to talk to the one to want to change their names from the registrar, from the IC identification, they want to wipe the name Islam there. He said, why should you fight? He said, because the first thing that will happen, that there is no such law in our country, no such law for you to wipe off the word Islam from your IC. There's no such law. That the first thing first. And when you go against this law, you actually go against the ruler, the king, who is actually the one that upholding the religion as the head of religious. The head of the religion is actually the king, the Agong, the Sultan, and also the Raja. So as a citizen, you should understand that. So the Sheikh said, just remain as you are. Nobody will fight you. Nobody will come to your house. Why do you not pray? Nobody will come to your house. Like I said, nobody will come. But we're afraid that the movement for wiping off the name of Islam there is just to contest the power of the ruler in Malaysia. We're afraid about that. Because some people doesn't like for us to be in a Malaysia as a Raja berperlembagaan, king with the constitution. They don't want that. They want to be republic. Some people have that. Even one of the person that I saw in a YouTube video, he said, today I say Sultan Setan. I will say Sultan Setan, and people will say Sultan and Setan is the same, and people will hate the Sultan. And 50 years from now, Malaysia will become a republic. You know, some people really doesn't like it. They said that to become a republic is better. If you really want to know, becoming a republic is not the best option. If you look into what happened to the Arab world, to the Iraq, Egypt, Syria, once they have kings. When the king is there, yes, people will say that the king is so harsh, taking money from people, lavish life. But the king is not as cruel as whoever become the dictator after that. Saddam Hussein, if you can't mention their name, Saddam Hussein, Hafiz al-Assad, Jamal Abdul Nasir, all these Arab ruler, are dictators. If you go to the non-Muslim country like China, when the emperor of China is there, you know that yes, he is eating the wealth of the nation. But never happened in China. Death for the people is more than the time of the republic. Do you know that during the ruling of Mao Zedong, there are 60 million people died. Joseph Stalin, you know, Tsar Nicholas, the ruler of Russia, they said eating the wealth of the country. But during his time, never been compared the death like what happened during the time of Joseph Stalin. 40 million people died because of incorrect decision being made by them. So it's not the good thing. So we're afraid that this movement that want to oppose the law of the country as a Muslim, as a citizen of Malaysia, not as a Muslim. Okay, you don't want to be Muslim, but as a citizen of Malaysia, you cannot deny whatever being put by the government or by the king as a law. And when you do that, like I said, if you have two nationalities, your Malaysian nationality will be taken away. If you don't like what being told or being put there by the king, then you should find another country, because this is the way that our Malaysian country is being put down the law to establish harmony. Then the king must put decision there for everybody. So this is one of the things that I see. The topic about you want to revert back to your religion. The first thing first, you have to know that there's no such law. Means that you have to go outside of Malaysia to get something like that. In Malaysia, you cannot get that, because there's no such law as for you to become a murtad. No court will give you that permission for you to become a murtad. You don't want to practice Islam, nobody will ask you. You just want to become like Ayah Pin, is okay. You don't want to pray, you claim your own things, that is okay. But if you want to claim that you are not a Muslim anymore, I don't want to have that name Islam from your IC, there's no such clause for you to remove it. To become a Muslim, yes. To become a non-Muslim after become Muslim, no. No such law. So as a citizen, you have to obey that. This is to respect what is being put down by our rulers from the start of the time, even from the time of the colonial English colonial in Malaysia, like being said by Professor Koh Kim. If you can see one of his video, he said at that time even the English ruler who came to Malaysia, they respect the king. Whoever from among the Malay who born in Malaysia is the citizen of the king. Citizen of the king. And whoever is not Malay, citizen of the imperial, the English citizen. They have that differentiation because they know that to respect about the ruler of Malaysia, the king, the Raja, the Sultan, or the Agong, that they should not be contest from the start, because religion is something that is so sacred. So not for you to go against it, and not for you to not respecting whatever being put down there as a rule in our country. So that is actually the thing that must be taken into accountability, as account, that you have your freedom, but before you embrace Islam, know first what are you doing. We actually, alhamdulillah, like I said in Al-Khadim, we don't keep anything secret from you to become a Muslim. Everything being exposed. We disclose everything for you to know from the start, so that you will not do something that you want to return back after from it after that. Okay. So alhamdulillah, we finished that about the explanation. So we can go into Q&A, inshallah.
Assalamualaikum, Ustaz.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.
I have a question regarding the law of the land. Okay. So at times we hear people asking, why does Malaysia has such what they call backwards law, where if you compare it with the States, or even with a country with a monarch, let's say like the UK, where people are allowed to change whatever faith. Okay, but in Malaysia, and it seems as progressive from that end. But also we have countries like Brunei, which is also under a monarch, but there is no discord among Muslims and non-Muslims there. So what can you say to that?
Okay.
Ustaz?
Like me said just now, the monarch in Malaysia, from the start, we know that if you say about UK, the monarch there, they actually exist opposing the religion from the start. King Henry the VIII, if I'm not mistaken, he changed his belief from a Catholic to become a Protestant. If you ask why, because he want to marry a new woman. In Catholic, you cannot do that. If you marry a woman, you divorce that woman to marry another woman. The second marriage is considered as fornication. It's not allowed. In Islam, yes, and in Protestant, they have that law. So the king asked Vatican to give him the permission to change it. So they don't give him the permission. So he changed the country from Catholic to become Protestant. From the start, they are not. You know that when they say about Protestant in Christianity, they are dividing what